The crystal chandeliers of the Whitmore Grand Hotel lobby blazed with afternoon light, scattering sharp prisms across marble floors polished to a mirror shine. Every surface reflected wealth, intention, and control, exactly as Constance Whitmore had designed it. She had overseen the renovation herself, approving stone samples, lighting temperatures, even the angle at which the sun would strike the lobby during peak hours. Today, however, her steps were not her own. Leon Hale walked beside her, half a step behind, his presence precise and calculated. To anyone watching, he looked like a trusted associate. Another executive in a tailored black suit accompanying the hotel's formidable CEO, but his hand rested at the small of her back, fingers firm, guiding her forward as if in a practice dance. Beneath the pressed wool of his jacket, something cold and unmistakably hard pressed into her spine. A weapon. Constance understood the rules without needing them spoken. No sudden movements. No shouting. No reaching for her phone. No eye contact with security. Leon's calm was more terrifying than rage. He wasn't nervous. He was prepared. They moved through the lobby at a measured pace. Guests crossed their paths, dragging suitcases, laughing softly, entirely unaware that the woman who owned the building was being marched through it at gunpoint. When Constance passed a janitor mopping near the concierge desk, she made her move. Her hand dropped casually to her side. Her fingers shaped words in the space between one heartbeat and the next, quick, deliberate, invisible to anyone not looking. "Help me. He has a weapon." The janitor's mop stopped mid-stroke. Water pooled quietly at his feet, but he did not look up. Silas Henry had learned long ago that invisible people see everything. For 3 years, he had worked the day's shift at the Whitmore Grand, pushing his cleaning cart through marble lobbies and quiet hallways, scrubbing floors guests crossed without ever glancing downward. He was part of the background, useful, necessary, unnoticed. Yet every surface told him a story. The scuff mark near the elevator meant someone had stumbled, probably drunk, likely embarrassed. The faint coffee stain near the business center told him a meeting had gone badly. The worn patch of carpet by the executive corridor revealed who lingered where power lived. In a world that looked through him, excellence was his only voice. But the real reason Silas noticed everything was Matilda. His daughter was 7 years old, with dark curls that refused to stay braided and a smile that lit rooms she could not hear. Born deaf, Matilda had taught Silas a different way of seeing the world. When your child cannot hear you call her name, you learn to watch reflections in windows and shadows on walls. You learn to listen with your eyes. Every morning before his shift, Silas walked Matilda 3 blocks to her special education program near the hotel. They had their own language, mostly American Sign Language, layered with private gestures developed over years. A tap on the wrist meant pay attention. A tug on the earlobe meant I love you. A hand pressed over the heart meant you are safe. Other parents sometimes offered pity Silas had never asked for. Some made comments about teaching a child, with hands instead of words. Silas stopped trying to educate them. Matilda didn't need their understanding. She needed a father who showed up. The morning had started with an unusual request. Silas received his daily assignment from the facilities manager, but today the instructions carried an edge he hadn't heard before. The VIP wing needs to be spotless. Move fast. Move quiet. No eye contact. No questions. Audrey Finn, head of security, had been pacing the lobby all morning, fingers constantly adjusting the earpiece that tethered her to the hotel's surveillance network. Bridget Louisa, the senior receptionist whose smile could soothe furious guests and charm hostile vendors, had pulled Silas aside near the elevators. "We have a special situation today," she said quietly, eyes flicking toward the executive offices. "Just keep your head down. Make sure nothing goes wrong." Constance Whitmore had built her empire on one principle. Luxury meant control. The Whitmore Grand was the flagship of a hotel chain spanning 12 cities. She had inherited wealth, but she had earned respect, transforming outdated properties into destinations. She read quarterly reports like novels, understood markets intuitively, and could spot a failing investment years before collapse. But today, for the first time in her career, Constance was not in control. Leon Hale had approached her that morning in the parking garage, stepping out from behind a concrete pillar with unsettling ease. His suit was expensive. His voice was calm. "We are going to walk into your hotel together," he told her. "You're going to smile at your employees. If you signal security or reach for your phone, people will die." The weapon against her back had ensured her cooperation. Leon guided her through the lobby now, choosing routes with fewer cameras, positioning himself so anyone watching would see nothing more than a CEO and her associate. His objective was devastating. Inside his briefcase was a contract bearing forged board signatures. If Constance signed it, she would transfer controlling interests of her company to a shell corporation. The clauses would activate immediately, stripping her authority, triggering her removal, erasing her legacy. Leon had chosen the hotel for a reason. Here, surrounded by employees and reputation, Constance would maintain appearances. She couldn't scream in a five-star lobby, but she had one advantage Leon had not anticipated. 3 years earlier, Constance had funded a program supporting deaf children. Scholarships, equipment, teacher training. During its launch, she attended classes, watching students communicate with their hands, their faces, their bodies. Moved, she enrolled in a basic sign language course. She never imagined it would one day save her life. When she passed a janitor near the concierge desk, she recognized him immediately. He always arrived early. Sometimes she'd seen him in the break room practicing hand shapes from a worn manual. Her fingers move again. Gun. Force contract. Don't look up. She kept walking. Behind her, the mop resumed its rhythm. Slower now, deliberate. Silas felt his heart hammer. The CEO had just signed to him. "Help me. Weapon." His instinct screamed to look up, but her last sign was unmistakable. Don't. If he shouted, Leon might fire. If he ran, Constance would be alone. If he did nothing, he would carry that weight forever. Silas thought of Matilda, waiting after school, of the promise he'd made her mother before cancer took her. Keep her safe. Come home. He set down his mop. He had 90 seconds. Silas grabbed the yellow caution sign and placed it directly in Constance and Leon's path. Wet floor. A delay. Small but deliberate. Leon frowned, steering Constance toward a secondary hallway. "This hotel has excellent maintenance," he remarked coolly. Once they passed, Silas moved fast. He slipped into a supply closet and grabbed the phone. "Security?" Audrey Finn answered instantly. "This is Silas Henry," he said quietly. "The CEO is in danger. Armed coercion." Silent response only. A pause. "I see them," Audrey said. "Stay on the line." Silas exhaled. Invisible no longer. Silas stayed on the line as Audrey Finn's voice sharpened into action. Orders flowed through her earpiece. Precise, clipped, disciplined. She didn't ask Silas to repeat himself. She didn't question his certainty. She trusted it. "I'm sending Bridget to create a diversion in the main lobby," Audrey said. "I need you to buy us time. Routine work only. No confrontation." "I can do that," Silas replied, and meant it. Years ago, before Matilda was born, Silas Henry had worked in private security, corporate risk assessment. He had been good at it, exceptionally good. He knew how threats moved, how fear spread, how violence escalated when people panicked. Then his wife got sick. Cancer. Fast and merciless. After the funeral, Silas quit. The work demanded a hardness he could no longer carry. He needed something quieter, safer, something that let him come home every night. So he became invisible. But training doesn't disappear. It waits. Silas pushed his cart down the VIP hallway at a normal pace, neither rushed nor lazy. He pressed the service elevator button, then made a subtle adjustment to the panel, engaging maintenance mode. Nothing dramatic, just enough to force anyone using it to request clearance. Leon and Constance arrived moments later. Leon pressed a button. Nothing happened. "Is this normal?" he asked. Constance kept her voice even. "Sometimes the system glitches. We can take the service stairs." Leon hesitated. Something felt off. The hotel was too quiet, too clean. He tightened his grip on the briefcase. Service stairs. Now! Silas watched from a mirrored alcove, using reflections instead of glances. When Leon redirected Constance, Silas moved again, this time toward Bridget Louisa. "He's taking her to the service stairs," Silas murmured. Bridget's fingers flew across her keyboard, alerting security. Then she stepped into the lobby, voice warm, welcoming, orchestrating arrivals and luggage with practiced ease. Normalcy as camouflage. 3 floors below, Audrey Finn coordinated something far from normal. She pulled camera feeds from every angle: stairwells, hallways, conference rooms. She contacted Ronnie George in IT and ordered full recording protocols. Then she made the hardest call of her career. Police. Silent approach. No sirens. Leon pushed open the service stairwell door and gestured for Constance to enter. The concrete walls swallowed sound. As they climbed, he spoke calmly, almost conversationally. "You built something impressive," he said. "Unfortunately, you built it on debts that never disappeared." They reached the VIP floor. A conference room waited. Glass walls, city view, leather portfolio already placed. "Sit," Leon ordered. Constance complied, reading slowly, buying time. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. Outside, Silas blocked part of the hallway with his cart, knelt near an outlet, removed the cover plate. Routine. Invisible. Audrey's voice came through his radio. "Officers are staged. When I give the signal, create noise, not a threat." Inside the room, Leon lost patience. "Enough," he said, offering the pen. Constance placed it on the paper, but didn't sign. "Before I do," she said, "how did you find my grandfather's sealed debt?" Leon smiled. "Patience." It was a confession. Inside help. Evidence. Constance's fingers moved beneath the table. "Help. Now." Silas saw the sign through the glass. He stood, lifted a metal tool tray, and dropped it. The crash echoed. Leon turned sharply. 5 seconds. Audrey and 2 officers appeared at the end of the hallway. Silent. "Ready?" Audrey counted down with her fingers. The door opened. Leon drew his weapon. But Constance was already moving. She dropped beneath the table as Silas signed one word through the glass. Down. Lights cut out. Darkness. Officers with night vision moved fast. When the lights returned, Leon Hale was on the floor, weapon secured, wrists cuffed. His shouting meant nothing. 17 minutes later, he was escorted out through the service entrance. Constance gave her statement with steady clarity. When asked how she signaled for help, she explained about sign language, reflections, and a janitor who noticed. The next morning, the district attorney confirmed it. Leon hadn't acted alone. Inside help. Arrests coming. That afternoon, Constance summoned Silas to her office. "I owe you more than thanks," she said. "I owe you change." She offered him a new role, Director of Employee Safety and Wellness. A foundation in Matilda's name. Real authority. Real impact. Silas thought of his daughter, of dignity, of systems that protected instead of overlooked. "I accept," he said. 3 months later, a plaque was unveiled in the lobby. Silent alert protocols. The Matilda Henry Foundation. Matilda herself stood beside her father, beaming. Constance signed to her carefully. "Your father is a hero." Matilda signed back, proud and certain. "I know. He's my dad." Later, standing near the concierge desk where it all began, Constance looked down at the marble floor. Reflections everywhere. But now, she truly saw them. The invisible, the essential, the ones who never looked away. And the Whitmore Grand, still gleaming, still powerful, stood changed. Not because of a contract signed under threat, but because someone had learned another person's language and listened when silence asked for help.